Hey there, welcome to the Stormwater World Podcast. Shout out to our parent company, Digital Stormwater. We're out there making an impact in stormwater one click at a time. We put more stormwater people in front of your stormwater products and services. How we get there is totally up to you. Some of the services that we offer are social media management, Google, LinkedIn, and Meta ads, SEO and content creation, website builds and updates, AI automations, consulting, and a lot more. So the question is who do you know that needs our help? If you're on YouTube, you can click on that QR code to learn more, or you can give us a call at 844-451-2534, or you can visit us at digitalstormwater.com and schedule a call with us today. I'd like to thank everybody that's been listening to this podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's get back to the episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of the Stormwater World Podcast. Back on the podcast with me today is Jeff King. He's the territory manager with American Excelsior. He's been there for about 19 years. Jeff's also a CPESC, and he's the current president of the South Central chapter of the IECA. Jeff, welcome back to the pod.
Oh, thank you for having me, Todd. I appreciate Ty. I appreciate you.
My whole life, brother. My whole life. Don't feel bad at all.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I'm happy to see the success your podcast is having. I follow all the things on LinkedIn, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it. We were just putting together some numbers for an event we're looking at helping with in San Antonio later in the year, and I try not to look at the numbers, to be honest. And I was like, oh, cool. They like over 12,000 downloads, which obviously is nothing. You know, we're not the Joe Rogan Experience, but for stormwater, it's pretty cool. But 1,700 downloads in the last 30 days against 12,000 roughly total. It kind of just shows you the arc that it's definitely picking up traction. People are listening, so
yeah.
We'll just keep pumping out the content. People are going to like some stuff. They're not going to like some stuff. You know, as you know, and everybody knows, we're pretty product friendly, service oriented on the pod. We do try to provide some value through letting a lot of people talk about not only the things that they're accomplishing in the stormwater world, but the things that they offer to help, with compliance and with keeping the water clean. And that's what we're going to do today. It sounds like we're going to get in some we're going to, no pun intended, we're going to get down into some weeds on how your company operates, and specifically kind of, it looks like some of the details that surround the Curlex product. Is that
yes,
right?
Sir.
And I'm excited about it because I don't really know. Like I'm not a field guy. We're a digital marketing company. We deal in some of these different products, but we don't have any of our current clients that distribute for you. I don't even know. Do you guys use distributors, or is that? Yeah. And so I'm excited to hear about the product. And I guess to kick us off, let's step back, I guess, away from the product itself, maybe. And I think you wanted to talk about the different fiber types that are involved with erosion control blankets.
Absolutely. And just full disclosure, our company manufactures a full line of erosion and sediment control products. Yes. So all of the fiber types. So we have straw. We manufacture straw coconut products as far as from an erosion control blanket standpoint. And then our main product line is going to be the Aspen, Excelsior, Curlex family of products. We have those. And then we have some turf reinforcement mats as well.
And where are you located? I know you're in Dallas, right? You're personally in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm just outside of Denton, actually. So I'm about 25 minutes north or so of Dallas. But yeah, this is where I grew up.
Yeah, I know exactly where Denton is. My son grew up basically in Denton.
Oh, yeah?
So that's why I was back and forth to Dallas a lot. Yeah, he went to Geyer High School. He ended up graduating from Crum.
Okay.
But he Fantastic. Did a lot of shows. He's a theater kid, did a lot of the shows for Geyer, did a lot of shows for Casa Mignana.
Okay.
And, a lot of the entities around the Metroplex that put on, different stage performances. And so I live in Orange. Everybody probably knows that listens to the podcast. So, we're basically neighbors, you and me, in Texas terms.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And
It's 5 hours difference for those that don't get the joke, but yeah, in Texas terms, we're basically
pretty
neighbors.
much. You just head down yonder. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You'll get
yeah,
there.
yeah, yep. Just head that way, and you'll be there soon enough. But anyways, yeah, I think I kind of interrupted you because you've been doing this though for almost 20 years. So you've seen a lot of changes, but I think you kind of were kind of going over the full family of products. So go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, we've got our straw-based products. We have products with a mixture of straw and coconut, and then our main product line is the aspen, Curlex wood fiber that we manufacture. And actually, fun fact: the rolled erosion control business actually was created by American Excelsior Company.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
Curlex is the very first rolled erosion control blanket that was ever created. It was created in the early
Okay.
1960s.
All right.
Little bit of company history here. We also created the first double net Excelsior or erosion control blanket
Okay.
with our Curlex 2 product. And then the first heavy duty, which was Curlex 3, which is more of a longer term Excelsior blanket that we have. So yeah, we helped create this industry as far as that goes.
Nice, nice. We're not even 5 minutes in. You're already flexing on the audience there. That's pretty cool. I knew you guys have been around for a long time. I've seen you the whole time. I've been in the industry. In fact, I think I've known you the entire time. I've been in the industry. But I guess my first question when you kind of explain all that is why the different types? Like, is it different types for different use cases? Of course, I mean, like I said, I'm not a field guy, so tell me why there's these different types of options. I guess I mean, at this point, in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, there should just be this dominant erosion control blanket type that just kills it, right? It does what it needs to do. But obviously, you guys offer a lot of different types. So why is there
Well,
different?
so when you start looking at what you want to use as far as an erosion control blanket goes, if it's like a slope application, the first thing you want to think about is like your slope gradient, like how steep is your slope. And then the other thing is that you want to consider is how long you want the product to actually last, right? So that's just the
Okay.
slope side of it. For a channel, you want to think about how long you want the product to last. Obviously, that's important. And then what kind of shear stress requirements that you're going to need from a performance standpoint, right? And there is we have this document in a lot of our presentations that's basically it's like a triangle, right? And at the bottom of the triangle is you have your straw based products, and those are going to give you like a lower shear stress and shorter longevity, right? So like a straw blanket, you're going to last anywhere from 9 to 12 months longevity before everything starts to degrade out, right? And then you go up into like your straw coconut, and that's going to give you 24 months or up to 24 months. And for those of you that don't know, a straw coconut blanket is a mixture of straw and coconut. When they meter the fibers into the blanket, they're going to meter 70% of the fibers that are in there are going to be a straw fiber, and 30% are going to be a coconut fiber. And so, just to back up a little bit on the difference on the fiber types, actually. So, the straw fiber is actually an agricultural byproduct. It's a non engineered fiber. These fibers are like flat, hollow. They're not really cut to any kind of specific length, right? And those are native to North America. They can have weed seed in them sometimes if you don't take the proper procedures. And then you have your coconut fibers. These are usually imported in from Southeast Asia. And actually, just to get them here leaves a pretty big carbon footprint, because what happens is they have to package the fibers, load them onto a large container, and then put them on a large ship and sail to North America, to our ports here in North America. So
Right.
it's a pretty big carbon footprint to get here, right? So you have those two, and then you have the aspen Excelsior fibers. So ours are Great Lakes aspen fibers. So they're actually manufactured or processed up north, very close to where our plant is in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. It is part of a sustainable forestry program. these aspen fibers, they're pretty fast growing trees. They're self-propagating. And we process them at various stages in their life cycle. And there's a whole like aging process and things like that for making things out of that fiber. And another fun fact that's non-erosion related, you ever see the movie Christmas Story?
Yeah. Okay.
When Ralphie's dad pulls his prestigious award or major award out, and it's the infamous leg lamp.
Oh, okay.
Of the large box.
I know what a leg lamp looks like. Good, bad, or ugly. I mean, those are not that's not the scene that I remember from that story, that show. But go ahead.
So he pulls it out of this large shipping crate that came in there, and inside to protect it were actually Curlex wood fibers, because we make packaging fibers out of the Excelsior too.
Yeah, I gotta apologize, man. I just remember like, how does the piggy eat? When he's talking to his little brother.
Oh, dude.
Or it's like where he gets triple dog dared and gets his tongue stuck to the pole.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna put out your eye. No, that's funny that those are the fibers inside the box. So anyways, don't let me squirrel on you, man. Keep going. Keep going down the rabbit hole here.
Sure. So that's the sustainable part of it, right? Like, so we talk about why Curlex is super. It's sustainable, part of a renewable, sustainable forestry program. We process them and we gather them from right there by our plant in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Then, these fibers are actually unique as far as how they perform or the mechanical functions of them compared to their counterparts like the straw fiber or the coconut fiber. So what happens when aspen gets wet, and this is why it works in so many different applications, it expands. Okay. These fibers expand and they contract when they get wet. One of the great things about it too is it holds its weight in moisture, right? So what that does in an erosion control application is it creates a greenhouse effect. So that really helps you speed up your vegetation, which, as y'all know, that's the end goal here, right? Or at least one of the end goals is to get vegetation so you can have cleaner water discharges off your site, right? So it'll do that. And one of the other things about the Curlex wood fiber is when it gets wet and it does that expansion, it actually clings on to one another and then it Velcros down onto the soil, right? So it won't float during a hydraulic event. Okay. If you have that, which straw fibers actually do. And that's why we don't ever recommend really putting a straw fiber, ours or anyone else's, in like a channel application, because those fibers are flat and hollow. And during a hydraulic event, they will float. And that's because they have what we call what is specific gravity. That specific gravity number that they have is less than a 1. So anything less than 1 means that the fiber will actually float in a hydraulic event. Anything over a 1 means it will not float during an event. Now, with that said, Curlex doesn't float, but it's not because of the specific gravity. It's because of that Velcro effect. And so that's one of the things that makes it unique among its counterparts in erosion control blanket fibers.
At this point, I don't know why anybody uses much straw anymore. I can't stand that straw. Mainly because, like, just personal experience. They did some work here in Orange, and they were using some straw to protect some inlets. It was a joke. It was everywhere. Like, within a couple of days, there's just straw everywhere up and down the street. And it's like, what are you guys doing? It's terrible. But.
Well, yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, they're flat, hollow fibers. And if you also notice, if you look at like a straw blanket compared to like a Curlex blanket, like ours, the net opening sizes are actually smaller too. And the reason why they have to be smaller is because those fibers are flat and hollow, and they'll migrate out of your net. Right? Because what we're talking about here too is, most erosion control blankets, these are what we call stitch bonded, meaning, so for like a single net product, you have your netting, then you have like your fiber matrix, and then you have the stitching that will go through that, right? And then if you have a double net, basically you have all of that plus a net on the bottom, right? Those are what we call stitch bonded. other products are actually woven, like some of the HPTRM things like that. They're woven. So it's also more difficult to grow vegetation up through those versus trying to grow up through the stitch bonded. And all of the blankets I mentioned before are stitch bonded.
Gotcha. Well, cool. So in our notes, you started mentioning it, but in our notes we had talked about why is Curlex super, and it's an acronym, S.U.P.E.R. So S was for sustainability, and then I think so. Next up is, what is U?
U is unique. The fiber is unique. These are curled, barbed Curlex fibers. They expand when they're wet, like I mentioned during a hydraulic event. Those kind of things. It does release moisture because, again, it holds its weight in moisture, giving you that greenhouse effect. So that's what makes it unique in terms of fiber type for rolled erosion control blankets.
I got you.
And
yes. Go ahead.
Then you've got P for performance, right? That's your performance, and because of that uniqueness and those unique mechanical functions, it does give it a better performance because it actually, that expansion when it gets wet, that gives you like a roughness. So you can actually use this fiber in a sediment control application as well. Like here in Texas, you see the blankets up against the curb. The reason why that works is the performance of the fiber, what we call the Manning's in, because it gives you that roughness factor, right? That expansion. And so any kind of sheet flow or anything like that, sediment starts rolling off your side. It gets caught in the blanket because of the roughness of the blanket.
Gotcha. So then E is for
engineered. We engineer these fibers. So we cut these in a specific way, in a specific length for a specific purpose. So the previous two fibers I mentioned, those are non-engineered, right? They're just byproducts. These are, we process them, we cut them, and everything. There's a whole bunch of steps to get to the actual Curlex fiber.
And then R.
R is for resources, and that's just the resources that we have here as a company. Like, not only do we have a great product like Curlex, but we have the resources to actually support you with our technical team, our territory managers, like my counterparts out in the field, our distribution network. You kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. We do work through a distribution network, and we usually work with best of breed in their industry. So we've got some really great partners throughout the country that stock and distribute this product for us. And then we've got our ErosionWorks software, which is a free design software that your engineers can use when designing their projects.
Oh yeah, I see it on here on your website. We can link that in the show notes if you like.
Sure.
So people can access that easily. Or you can just go to American Excelsior. That's EXCELSIOR, AmericanExcelsior.com. Very cool. So you had another bullet point about material cost versus landed project cost. Paying a bit more for a performance-based product on day one can actually save you time and money and make the project owner more money. You want to kind of unpack that for us?
Yeah. So when you think about it, in terms of cost, our straw blanket, or really anybody's straw blanket, is going to be less expensive than, say, like a Curlex blanket, right? Like a single net Curlex 1 product is going to cost more than a single net straw product, right? Because that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And so my point here is that when you're taking a look at what you want to accomplish with your project and trying to get your permits closed out, to me it's better to use the performance-based product, so that way you do it right the first time, and instead of and minimizing having to actually call back someone to come out and sweep the streets and or repair the blanket and do those kind of things, right?
Right. I feel like that's like, in our world, in our stormwater world, the fight to do it right the first time is one of the biggest fights we have. No matter what product or solution you're talking about, it's like, yeah, I mean, you could do it like that, but in reality, we could just not do it at all, and you could take your chances, or you could just do it right the first time, right? And I feel like we are always fighting that uphill battle.
For sure. And that's the frustrating thing too, is like if you really look at it, stormwater is our life, right, Ty? Like it's very, very important to us. But when you look at it in like the grand scheme of things for these large developments, it's a
Right,
small part,
exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
they don't
Oh
look at
yeah.
it in terms of that. They look at it as far as, oh, now I have to spend X amount of dollars on this stormwater plan or SWIP plan or whatever. And it's like, well, if you're going to look at it like that, then yeah, you're going to take the cheap approach every single time. Whereas my contention is if you actually start doing things the right way, it'll save you money in the long run.
So have you seen some changes over your 20 years in the business with people being more willing to accept new technologies and updated products like this? Are you
For sure. For sure. So, I mean, Oklahoma, for instance, when I took Oklahoma over about 18 years ago, the predominant BMPs that were used for erosion and sediment control was sod and hay bales.
right?
And they were cheap, local, things like that. And over the years, they've really developed an appetite for doing the right thing in Oklahoma. And now they're probably, out of all the 15 states that I have, Oklahoma, stormwater wise, is probably the most active one. And they're on top of their game. They're paying attention to what BMPs are being used in the field. They're making contractors and developers do things the right way. So yeah, I've definitely seen an uptick in people trying to do the right thing over the years.
I mean, for those people, like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many different ways and directions you can go on these projects, and then you've got new people in some of these positions. And they're trying to learn their way, whether they're trying to enforce from a municipal side on contractors, where it's a contractor trying to figure out how to be, like you were saying, as efficient as possible. Is there ever a situation where you tell people that, maybe your product's not the solution for them, or is like
Yep.
just, and I don't mean that to put you on the spot. I mean that as from a teaching standpoint right now, like, is there an example you could give, or without putting any projects on blast, where, hey, our product's just not the right fit. We should look at this other product.
Well, I mean, yeah, and let me just say this too. Every BMP, when it's installed properly, has its place, right? And there's no silver bullet for every single application. And as far as specifics, I won't go into really any specifics. I'll speak more in generalities. But like, there are going to be some times where you would want to use riprap or a concrete line channel or like a hard armor system instead of trying to use just a standard 8 or 10 ounce TRM. Because the last thing we want to do also as a manufacturer and even as an industry is you recommend the wrong product and have a bunch of failures out there. Like you don't want to do that, right? And you want to do right by the project owners and the inspectors and things like that as well.
And what is your territory again? How many different states?
I think it's around 14 or 15. So basically, I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all of Oklahoma. I have all of Louisiana, all of Arkansas. Then I have basically, starting last year, I started having South Texas again as part of kind of succession planning thing for 2027. And then I have basically everything west to the coast from Mexico to Canada.
Gotcha. Succession planning for 2027.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I'm actually a second generation with our company. My dad, Daryl Childers, is going to be retiring out at the end of this year. So I'm going to be taking over all of Texas. And so, so it'll be 33
I knew that's
years.
What you meant, but I knew that's what you meant because we talk, but I wanted to get it out there on the.
Sure.
So congratulations to your dad. And how cool is it that you guys have got to work together. That's pretty cool. It's pretty unheard of, I feel like, these days. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but very, very cool that you guys have gotten to do that.
Oh, for sure. Our company, it's actually a great company to work for. Not only do we make great products, and not just on the erosion control side either. We have a foam and packaging division too, but the longevity of a lot of the people here, like our CEO, he started on the floor and then he, worked into the board and then got to be our CEO, and then retired out after like 40 or close to 50 years, something like that. Our old VP of marketing was there 40 years. My dad, 32. There's several others. And it just kind of speaks to the environment that we work in. Our owner is also second generation, with our company as well. So it's just a great company to actually work for, man.
Man, I tell you, I mean, it's almost unheard of these days. I know I keep rounding up for you to 20 years, but 19 years at one place is a long time. And kudos to you, because it gives you it just gives you it gives you knowledge that you take for granted. I promise you take it for granted.
Sure.
Because you just don't think about the fact that you've got to see so many things over time in the same industry with the same company, developments of the same product. So it makes you a huge resource, my friend, and I'm glad we've got you also as the president of the South Central chapter. That conference is going to be coming up again toward the end of the year. I guess. What do we know that? Do we have a date already?
We do.
That? When is it? You want to talk a little bit about that as we kind of wrap up, just that way some people that are local, when they hear that, they can come shake your hand and pick your brain.
Absolutely. So our South Central chapter conference is going to be October 6th, 7th, and 8th. So basically it will be, I believe that's 6th, 7th, and 8th. Let me double check the dates here. I know it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yep. I just pulled it up on the site. Yep. It says 7 to 8th in Denton, Texas.
Okay. So the reason why I mentioned the 6th is because we're going to be doing a field tour. Yeah, we're going to do a field tour on Wednesday the 6th, and then we have a kickoff reception that's going to be sponsored by Haynes Geocomponents that night. And then we have all day on Thursday where we, that's just basically going to be the conference. And then we'll have a vendor reception that night, bringing in a DJ for that. So we're going to liven this conference up just a little bit. And then we'll have about a half a day on Friday, and then that's it.
Gotcha. I gotcha. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to SCIECA, that's South Central, IECA.org. And they've got some information already up about the conference under events. And what did we miss, Jeff? What else? Any sound bites you'd like to get out there or tell the folks? Encourage people, the young people out there that are just getting in the business, maybe.
No, it's just I guess the main point I want to get across is sometimes it costs a little more to do the right thing and do things right the first time. And I think that's the whole point of why I wanted to hop on and talk to you about it, because I see people taking shortcuts or taking the less expensive route and not getting the results that they could have gotten if they'd just done it right the first time.
What do you guys do to combat that? Like, do you guys show them, or what's the, I guess, I don't know if there's how is just through the educational process, or like, is there a certain state, like, is Texas tough? Is Texas a tough state? I would think it's a tough state.
Texas does things right for the most part. And I mean, really, just as a territory manager, I mean, my job is to be out in the field, and I'm out on job sites and I'm taking photos and documenting. I mean, I don't negatively sell, but I do point out factual things. And so that, I mean, that's pretty much it. So you want to have that kind of documentation, and then you work with a whole plethora of people, really, from state regulators to municipal inspectors and stormwater departments, and then through engineering firms with specification work, and then your distribution partners and who you're aligned with.
Yeah, I would see that as just an educational process, maybe getting some of the engineers, maybe even at the contractor level, to understand that it's better to go that route, to have a better, just to put a better product for everybody if they want to close out their project, right? I guess you mentioned that before. If they want to get the vegetation growing and get to where they can, again, close it out and move on to the next one, better to do it right the first time. Well, man, if that's it, I appreciate your time today. I congratulations on, your dad's upcoming retirement, you taking over a larger territory, 20 years of the same company. I'm sure I'll see you. We'll be there, obviously, in Denton. We'll we'll see you there at the IECA, or what are we calling that thing? Hold on, let me just say it right. What are we calling it? Just the South Central Conference and Expo.
Yeah, it's funny. We had to almost rebrand that because it was almost exclusively Texas all the time, and I'm like, well, we have 3 other states. I'd like for people from the other states to want to come. And something else too, Ty, just to let you know, we actually have the North Central Texas Council of Governments partnering with us, and part of the planning committee on this. So, awesome. we're really going to be heavy on the municipal content and the stormwater and things like that.
All right, so we got a combo of South Central ICA teaming up with NetCog, the North Central Texas Council of Government, for the South Central Conference and Expo, October 7th to 8th in Denton, Texas. We will see you there. Jeff, thank you so much for taking some time to visit with me today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Stormwater World Podcast. Do you have something you'd like to discuss? Do you have an opposing opinion regarding something you heard during this episode? Let's talk about it. Click on the link in the show notes to sign up for a future episode. I'd love to visit with you about what's happening and how you see things unfolding in your stormwater world.